before we jump into Quiet on Set, I gotta say, hey, this old cats here probably didn't watch it.
Nah.
I'm a big fan of that Declassified.
That's
one of my go-to shows when I was like, a kid. So it's crazy that I'm meeting you right now. How was that experience getting casted?
On Ned's, the casting was it was an interesting process because right after like the Friday After Next thing, I started auditioning for some bigger roles. Like, the agent's like, okay, yeah, you got a little buzz going with your Bad Boy number 2. But the audition for Ned's, I remember I went to like 5 different auditions, thousands of kids auditioning for the same role. And, I was like, I really felt like, it was right there for me. We get to that final like callback. And I'm just knowing that it's mine because I went in there, wowed the casting directors, the producers, and the directors I felt. Then like a week later, my agent manager calls and is like, yeah, they passed on you, man. They passed on you. So, damn. On to the next one. The original character that I auditioned for, well, now it's the same character. It's just he had a different name. It was Boogie, right? He was still in the like main 3. But his last name was like Boguslawski. He was supposed to be this Caucasian dude, of course, with a last name like Boguslawski. And so they filmed the pilot without me. So there's this pilot that's floating around with a whole different like character by the name of Boogie instead of Cookie. And then MTV had this initiative where they're like, yo, we're going to audit some of these programs that's being put out and see if they're being inclusive and, making sure that everybody has a fair like shot or whatever. And so we find out after they aired the pilot that they're going back in and they're going to retest some of the people that they liked from the original audition. So I'm like, all right, cool. I might be able to get in here, put my, whatever I didn't do in that first audition, really come and bring it this time. So I went out there and another like set of maybe 7 auditions, final callback, got paired with the other characters, Devin, Lindsay, and some other pretty heavy hitters in the young childhood actor game, and I ended up booking the role of Cookie. They changed the name from Boogie to Cookie to support, my African American background. So
that must be so crazy to go through thousands of people and they pick you. That must feel wild.
I mean,
you're also like one of the first African American lead characters in a kids show, right? Because of the whole thing, like. Pretty, you're considered a lead on the show, no?
A lead, yeah. But I got to give credit to like the Nick Cannons of the world. Like Nick Cannon was doing this thing. That the Nick Cannon show, I think, came out like right before then. We had Kenan and Kel, so that's
and Urkel was not right. He's a supporting actor.
No, Urkel's
the lead.
He's the lead of Family Matters.
Guy. Bro,
Urkel's the lead. It's his show.
But like Nickelodeon,
after a while though,
Nickelodeon, Disney, no, like.
Nigga, I mean, yeah, they've struggled with stuff in the past, but it's America, so you kind of gotta, it just is what it is.
Did you take any inspiration from Urkel for Cookie?
Oh, so much, much.
And when I watched it, because we checked out a few prior to you coming, and I felt that. I felt that energy. I
mean, yeah, because certain stuff just hits and speaks to the culture, the culture of television. Urkel changed so much, not just for young black nerds on TV or young black people on TV, just so much about comedy, I think, came from that show. Family Matters, right?
Family Matters, yeah.
Yeah, he killed that.
Now going back to Quiet on Set, your podcast. You're doing a podcast now.
Oh yeah, I do a podcast. Yeah, Ned's Declassified Podcast. So the show was Ned's Declassified, of course, and we have a podcast where we've come back together. It's the only podcast that has all the main stars from the show coming back together and talking about their experiences.
Did you say Friends after it wrapped up in 2007?
Yeah, you know what? Friends, yeah, for sure. We stayed friends for the most part. Like we had our hiccups like any friends have, and then also friend groups that just kind of shift. Like because that show, we were doing that show and we were in middle school. I think at the end of it I was
I think it's 2004 to 2007.
To about 2007, yeah. So then high school hits and you kind of shift. Like we did our little kind of party phase together after the show ended. But it was primarily me and my male co-star, Devin Werkheiser.
Yeah.
Lindsay Shaw kind of went out on her own, ventures. she was dating Devin at a certain time, and then they had a breakup. So it was like, oh well, I gotta go with my dog.
I gotta stick with the dog.
Yeah. You know. But yeah, no, I got mad love for these people. Like, I consider myself a loyal dude. You grow up with people and you share objectives and things like that. I believe in, being there for them. Like, if they need anything, they know they can call me and I'll at least look into it.
How bad was the backlash from the Quiet on Set comments that came from your podcast?
Oh, from our podcast. Well, first off, let's talk about Quiet on Set. That just sheds so much light on the atrocities, that child actors have to face. And just children in general, man. The world can do for a couple more like regulations, I think, on certain things. And in the acting world, leaving these children without their like parents, you get this legal guardian thing, but you hire some manager to be your kid's legal guardian. You don't really know what their intentions are or whatever. So Quiet on Set shed light on that, where maybe these companies were not putting enough focus on how to protect these children. They're just thinking, okay, well, we're following the guidelines. Get them up there and make them work. It's just child labor and a lot of skirting the system to make sure those kids get out there and work these long hours and whatnot. And that led to a lot of those awful things in Quiet on Set. So my heart goes out to the other, child actors who had negative experiences in the acting world. My only hardship was that Nickelodeon was shady with the business and the money or whatever. And
were your parents around on set?
Oh yeah. They didn't let me go nowhere without them.
It seemed like what from when we talked to Lee Boy too or whatever, his parents were on set, and he was like the kids whose parents weren't around is kind of the shit who would happen to. Because if your parents are around, you there, you go to your parents, you do homework, whatever, and
because if something look fishy, to your folks and somebody who, y'all got that bond, like either that biological bond or that, that love bond. Like, shoot, it don't have to be your biological parent, but somebody who definitely has your best interest there. Ain't no telling what you could get mixed up in, outside of just, the assaults and stuff like that, which is terrible. Just also drugs, people wanting to mismanage your money, all these things that an adult, like when you get into the adult world, people trying to take you for a spin anyway. It's capitalism. Everybody's trying to capitalize on you and get whatever they can get out of you. But children don't need to be exposed to that at such a young age without some guardian who's there for them. And yeah, it's very unfortunate what was exposed in Quiet on Set. Yeah.
When you mentioned like the financials, I've heard that child actors don't get residuals.
It depends on what projects. Like some like the Disney show. So I started on a Disney show after called Zeke and Luther. It's like a skateboarding show. And so I get residuals from that. That's cool. It wasn't the biggest show. Like it wasn't bigger than Ned's, but it ran 3 seasons. Like, sometimes they do the right thing. In 2004, SAG and AFTRA hadn't merged yet, and we were under this AFTRA contract, and that was just shady, like mad shady. Like you feeling good. And the funny thing is, it's the stars of those AFTRA shows on Nickelodeon that don't get residuals. Anybody who was paid under scale, like if you weren't making 5 G's per episode or whatever, you still qualify for like residuals. So it's like, it's weird, and they set you up with this. If you call SAG, and this is why I'd be upset with SAG. Like, everybody's like, the SAG strike, they're gonna get us money. Strike. Sometimes it's just folks picking up that phone and slamming it back down, not giving you no help. So SAG, y'all got to work on that. I'm just letting you know, or else you're gonna lose a lot of people to just freelance work. The SAG, the AFTRA contracts were terrible. Then the SAG AFTRA merge happened, so now kids get better contracts. But yeah, that's the case.
Since Nickelodeon with Ned's Declassified, you have one of like the biggest shows. Is there like an alumni program? Like you're welcome back to Nickelodeon anytime, or they just like cut ties with you?
It's all business. No.
Damn.
No.
Did you do any of the other Nickelodeon shows and all the didn't they take the people from the shows and do like those fucking ooh shows and all that shit? And that was just a specific show.
What, the slime show?
Yeah. Wasn't it other kid stars from Nickelodeon that went on those different shows?
Oh, you're talking about just like press. Those were press runs. Like, but you're talking about like Kids' Choice Awards and stuff where they slime
that
people.
Shit, yeah.
Yeah, we went to Kids' Choice Awards.
You got slime?
It's like random moments of it. Like we did like this joint thing where I think we just got shot with slime or whatever. It wasn't like the slime falling from the ceiling, but yeah.
Classic Nickelodeon right there.
It's interesting, man. There's so many rabbit holes out there about just what like why slime, you know, but I'm not even going to go into all that crap.
How do you feel about it? Like,
what do you mean? That's why we're here. Go down the rabbit hole.
As a kid, I never thought about it.
Yeah, it's being weird, right? You didn't think it was weird, right? I didn't specifically either because I'm a kid and, you know, everything's interesting. We see the splat come on the screen. It's just interesting. And so I was a consumer of Nickelodeon's product too as a child, you know. So I'm seeing slime and it immediately means to me fun, you know, that type of thing. But knowing now what some of these, you know, writers were on and stuff like that, I'm like, okay, it makes me feel a certain kind of way. But yeah, I would not want to say that all the people behind pushing slime were like these like negative people who had these bad intentions or whatever. So I tread lightly there.
To me, the slime part, I know what the bad intentions part were. It just looked like it was fun for kids. That's
you know, because kids
it's
play
a kid
with
thing. Kids love slime.
If anything, it's more to mucus than it is to the other.
Mucus more so than that. Yeah, that's what I feel. But if someone has some sinister, you know, perspective behind it, then they can try to.
Did you ever have to question anything that was written in your scenes? Speaking of these writers, sick ass Nickelodeon writers,
bruh, me
or your parents or anything, or like, I ain't doing that.
Yo, you know, the typical dress thing was a tough one. You know, that was a tough one, man.
Yeah, I see that one. Yeah,
there's one, you know, and you know, especially as an African American, we really kind of have been like, oh, they trying to put us in a dress so we can get the big check. You know, first of all, I didn't get no big check cashed, all right? You know, it just happened to be a scene like Urkel's done, like, you know, like it just is what it is. There was some comedy there, and in a perfect world, you can do something that's funny. Okay, this is what this person would look like if they were a female, or if they just had to play dress up to convince their childhood crush that they're the one that they should be with. Like, it can be lighthearted. Like, I believe in comedy. I actually like comedy. I feel like it's the magic of life and things like that. So I really didn't take issue with that.
You just had fun with it.
I was a kid.
But back then, it's like the slime. No one thought about it.
Like, thought about it.
Big Mama's
everybody
house.
did it. Yeah,
Big Mama's house.
I saw it so many. Like, to me, even to this day, the dress doesn't mean shit to me. To me, it's comedy.
Yeah. It is comedy. It's been comedy forever. But then it turned into like, was that was your humiliation point?
Right. They be trying to do the humiliation ritual.
Did the Illuminati came to you?
He sold it well, though. He made it fun. Like, I watched the whole scene. It just seemed, it was funny.
Yeah. I think if someone does play it, you know, comedy, you know, big comedy, and they're nailing the beats, and it looks like everyone involved is in on the joke, then it's good. But, you know, if somebody don't want to be in that dress and you throw them in there and it's only for that, then it's like, okay, yeah, there could be some power tactics there. But I was a kid, you know.
Do you feel like in a way did you get, because Urkel, I feel like he kind of got typecasted. Do you feel like since you played a similar role, did you get typecasted in a way as far as Hollywood goes?
I'm trying to think of the roles after Ned's. A lot of the auditions, so my agents and managers did try to send me out on more nerdy roles and things like that. So the typecasting, I don't necessarily want to say it came from the industry.
You think it came from your agent seeing that you had success? This made me some
money right quick. Yeah, success. So
there you go.
Keep going. Okay. You know, at that angle.
Fair.
But the crazy thing with me is, like, you know, I played football all my childhood, so I started getting like yoked up. I was a linebacker, and it just didn't, like, it wasn't really my stick. So I ended up like being like, you know, I'm not going on these auditions that don't like fit me per se. I can still, you know, lock into some of those roles, but yeah.